Can you see me, hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, and we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I did it.
You did it, yep.
2 weeks in a row and I didn't botch it up.
You're on a roll, Colleen. Good job.
I tell you, makes me proud.
Good job.
How are you?
Doing okay, beating the heat.
Oh, I know. It's supposed to cool down Monday, though.
I'm
Yeah.
very excited.
80s.
Yeah, I'm going to barbecue after the meeting.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was listening to the news tonight and they said Monday it's supposed to cool down into the 80s, about 83. So I thought that'll be good.
I have my sweatshirts ready.
Oh, right there.
Hey everyone, just waiting for Candy to show up. Zach is not going to be here today, so Candy will be acting as chair. And she just emailed me saying she needs an invite. So I have IT working on that.
How you doing, Alex?
Doing all right. I am in my house, as you can see again.
Yeah.
Because I hurt my back last weekend, so I'm kind of stuck here. So I'll probably turn my camera off periodically so that you don't see me grimacing when I move the wrong way.
Ooh, ooh. What did you do to it? Just turned it wrong or lifted too much or?
I was actually playing in a volleyball tournament and I didn't catch the motion that hurt it, but I tried to jump and didn't quite make it.
Oh my gosh.
Looks like a pulled muscle is all, but it's still.
Well, at least you were doing something that you enjoy doing and it was fun.
That is true. Okay, hold on just a second.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you guys.
Oh. I can hear you. Candace, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Colleen.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Sorry about that.
Oh.
I was on mute.
Oh.
Any luck, Dustin? No?
No.
Okay. Robin, are you okay? Okay.
Is Robin there too?
Yeah, Robin's here. Yeah. And it looks like Candy's logging in. I can't hear her, but it looks like she's logging in.
Oh, okay.
Looks like Candy's calling home for some reason. Checking in.
Yeah, she's troubleshooting.
Okay, now am I unmuted?
Yes, you are. Yay!
Okay, I'm hanging up now. Oh, okay, that was crazy.
All right, Dustin, are you hearing everybody?
He looks frozen.
He kind of does.
Yeah.
I see some movement. And Bart was here and then disappeared. Any idea where he went?
It looked like he was getting some help too. I'm not sure if he was able to get off mute.
Colleen, it was my turn today.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it was my turn to have IT problems. So
I can't believe twice in a row I got right in and I thought,
well, that's awesome.
I know, I was so proud. I was just proud.
Yeah, I don't see Bart back.
Well, we can give them time or we can get started because we've got enough for a quorum here.
I'm okay to get started if everyone else is.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Because it's about 6 minutes after, I think, so that.
Hey, Candy, you're in charge.
Okay. I'm going to call the Midvale Planning and Zoning Commission special meeting to order. And I need to make a statement first before we do anything. This meeting will be an electronic meeting without a physical location pursuant to Utah Code 52-4-207 as amended by House Bill 5002. Vice Chair Candy Tippett, as Vice Chair of Midvale City Planning and Zoning Commission, hereby makes the determination that conducting the meeting with an anchor location presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at the anchor location. This determination is based upon the fact that the city is unable to ensure compliance with the guidelines and public health protocols mandated by the state's current risk phase. As
Perfect.
restricted, is that it? Do I need
Yeah,
to read?
that's it.
Paragraph? Okay, awesome. And that's kind of what Chairman Smallwood does. So I think we're okay.
Yep. So next is a roll call and then that description of how the meeting will proceed.
Okay. Can we have a roll call taken, please?
We sure can. Vice Chair Tippett,
Here.
Commissioner Costello,
Here?
Commissioner Anderson,
Here?
Commissioner Snow,
Maybe.
Here.
Hey.
All right.
Commissioner Erickson,
Here.
and Commissioner Benson. I don't know if he was able to get back on. Oh, there he is.
Okay, I made it.
All right.
Perfect. Okay, so
And
Commissioner Benson, we were just taking roll call.
Yeah, here.
Perfect.
then mark down Chair Smallwood as excused. He indicated to me earlier today he wouldn't be making it.
Okay, so with the roll call taken, since we don't have any public hearing matters on the agenda, we're going to go ahead and proceed with the agenda item The planning commission will, the planning department will brief the commission. The applicant will then speak to the commission, after which time we will discuss that item.
And make a decision, hopefully.
And make a decision. Okay,
Okay, you ready for me to take over?
we are ready.
All right. Let me just share this real quick. So this item on the agenda today is a revision to the conditional use permit and preliminary site plan that the Planning Commission approved for Housing Connect last month, I believe. If you'll recall, we had that 97 unit multifamily residential project that Housing Connect was looking at doing on Fort Union Boulevard there at 380 East. They're going to take down the existing units that are there and replace them with a new building that would have 97 units and new amenities, expanded parking lot and all that. That request was approved with some conditions. Two of those, which are kind of important today. The first is it was contingent on the council approving a reduction in the parking calculation for affordable housing projects in the RM25 zone. We had, in that same meeting, the Planning Commission recommended the council approve that text amendment, but the council ultimately denied it and directed the applicant to come back and revise the plans to respond to the parking needs. The second contingency in that approval was the rezone. It was requested to be rezoned from single family with the duplex overlay to multifamily residential, RM25. That request was approved last week, so it's since been rezoned now. And here, Housing Connect has revised the drawings to reflect the parking change. And so we're bringing it back to the Planning Commission so they can review, reconsider, and hopefully reapprove it. The revision didn't end up changing a whole lot about the layout of the site. The number of units was dropped. So it went from 97 to 89 units in this change, which means the building's a little bit smaller. The parking lot was increased in size by a little bit. And then the open space area was decreased in size as a result. But it still complies with the open space requirements, and it still generally complies with all of the other requirements that we had in the ordinance and in the approval. So really, it's a pretty quick request. We did send the revised plans out to the fire marshal and the city engineer who approved, or who both of which approved the request. So we've got an updated set of recommended conditions of approval for the Planning Commission to consider. It's basically the same requests that were in the first approval, just without the references to the rezone and the text amendment, and then using the new plans, which we can go in more detail if you'd like. But it's a pretty basic request. I did notice earlier today that I had not updated the motion in the staff report, so I've got an updated one here just so you can make sure to read the right thing if that's the route the commission wants to take. We've also got Jeremy Runia and Janice Kimball from Housing Connect here. Maybe a couple others as well if you have any questions that you'd like to ask them or me here. And that's it.
Does the commission have any questions at this time?
No, I don't.
If the applicant is present, is there anything you'd like to add to this presentation?
So this is Janice Kimball with Housing Connect. We have Jeremy Runia, who's our development director, and Sarah Webb, who's the architect. We're just happy to be here and happy to answer any questions you have.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I think the only thing that I would have to add to this or ask about that the conditions that are that have been stated, that the applicant goes along with all the detailed things on the recommendations.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, this isn't a public hearing matter, so if there aren't any questions for the applicant, is there anything the commissioners would like to discuss before we take a motion on this item?
I did want to just interject. This is Candace here. Some of the big things that changed since the last time we saw it, I wasn't able to sit in on the commission or the council, I should say, prior. If you can just run down what may have changed.
I'm
I
going to
can
ask.
see the plan did. Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to ask Sarah Webb to take that, who's our architect.
Sure. And I'll elaborate. Alex alluded to it a little bit, but the number of units changed. So what that did was shrink the length of the building a little bit, and it increased the length of the parking lot. So we tried to not interfere with the open space as much as possible. So but it did shift a little bit. So what we have is like more open space on the west side. We have a great lawn there. And then we have amenities still at the south side of the parking lot, but that's the area that got a little bit smaller. We still have a playground. Landscape is still well thought through. The building design is very similar to what we have. It's just a little bit shorter. So we still took, we didn't want to relocate where we had the building or anything like that. Drainage stayed where it was. That's pretty critical. The land tells us where that needs to be. So we didn't mess around with that stuff too much. It's primarily parking and building changes.
Sure. So just kind of massaging the programmed landscape, I guess.
Yes. Yep. That's what we had to play with. And we still feel like this is a really strong open space. There's a lot of amenities there for residents, and it's a lot of attention and detail to that part of it.
Okay.
I can pull up, I can compare the two if you want to see that, Candace. Or
If you have them, I would love to see it.
I just have the two sheets side by side. It'll be the easiest way to do it.
Sweet.
So on the left is the original plan.
Yeah.
On the right is the revised plan. So this is the landscape sheet. You can see originally it went to about here, larger open space area, some flex space that we had talked about in the last meeting in the parking lot, and the lawn area to the south. On the right, you can see the parking lot has been stretched a little bit farther to the south. That open space has been shrunk a little bit. This area is a little bit bigger because the building doesn't project quite as far into it, like Sarah was mentioning. And then just some other minor tweaks to the parking lot layout to make sure that fire engines can move through it and cars can park in it and such.
Right. I definitely remember that flex space. So that's good to see the side by side.
Yeah.
And then here's the front of the building, which hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say all of the focus of where the changes happen were on the south side of the lot. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for going over that, because I know there's been work that's gone into it. So it's good to know what that is without just
Sure.
for it. Yeah.
This is Robin. What are we tearing down? How many units are we getting rid of and replacing?
So there are 24 units, duplexes, dated public housing, and we'll be replacing them with 89 units.
So I actually had someone that has a business over there that's very impacted by this talk to me about it. They're not real happy about it, but I understand we're not in the public hearing anymore, but they've already called the police and they've been in their business for 1 month, and they've already had to call the police because they had some guy out in the parking lot that was from over there. So I'm not sure I understand the positive part of going from small to big and having more presence.
One of the things that will happen is we'll be able to have on-site presence. So we'll have full-time staff on site, which will help.
Okay.
Did we ever get a report from the police on crime in this project?
We did not get something specific here, no. That was a topic that was discussed in the meeting last time, but ultimately the commission voted to approve the project, so there wasn't really an opportunity to do that.
We do have a contract with Salt Lake County sheriffs to do extra community policing there. So we are being as proactive as we can with the configuration we have.
Is that in effect right now?
Yes.
And my name is Jeremy, and I'd just like to add a couple of other items. So the proposed development will have lenders and an investor that buys the tax credits, and they have annual inspections that go above and beyond the inspections that are currently occurring on site right now. So with the proposed development, yes, it has more units, and I can understand generally the concern, but please note that we are augmenting that with, there will be far more people walking the site on an annual basis, from lenders to investors, that will require certain thresholds to be met. Otherwise, the financing and other things become in question. And so we, as a developer or owner of the property, will have a higher threshold to meet and more stakeholders to satisfy. Not to say that we're not already vested in keeping things appropriate, but we will have more incentive with this development than we have currently. So I just want to put that out there as well, that there will be more eyes on site on an annual basis than currently exists now.
I mean, we've seen what's happened over by Neaters, the government housing there, and we've seen what happens at Chad's Ford that I'm affected by.
We're going to triple the density,
Yeah.
roughly.
Wow.
That means we're going to triple the crime. We're going to triple the phone calls to the police.
Well, it's also more of a diverse income. So the units that you have now are all at 30% AMI or below. And these are restricted income, but there's a wider range of income there.
What percent?
So one of the things we've been looking at in general is what models work well, and we're invested in developing housing that works well for a community. So I don't know that you're going to have triple the crime is a fair statement.
They need to come back to planning and zoning to change that. On who they can and can't.
What Janice is speaking to, we will be applying for tax credits, and part of that application requires us to set those income thresholds for the units, and all units will have a threshold. And so the average threshold will be right around the 44% mark. And so we'll have some that are up at 50. We will have some that are down at 25. We have to honor the 24 units that are on site right now. So those get sort of grandfathered through. But by and large, we will almost double the income threshold than is currently on site. So again, there's a lot of momentum that is put forward by the scale of this development that is not on site now. And so it definitely is not a true accusation to say that things triple just by, if the unit count doubles, then everything else doubles. That is definitely not an accurate statement. And in this case, if we're nearing 3 times the units there's a lot of additional support that we bring to the table that will offset. It's not a one-for-one, increase in the negative column. So we have other properties that operate with this same model, and we've left the invitation before to come out and see what these properties look like. Bud Bailey is one of them, and quite frankly, that was a property that we used for a parking study that I think we presented as part of our application review last time. And so that's a 3-year-old property, very diverse group of folks, similar AMI structuring restrictions on the income. And we don't have the issues that you're stating. So, and it has far more units, 100, how many, Janice?
136. We get regular reports from Mill Creek in terms of crime. Very little crime, very little call for service.
So, and the other thing to keep in mind is we have only one access point from 7200 South onto this property. We won't have access through neighborhoods or any other access to the property. So in terms of protecting, if you will, other areas of the local neighborhood, the traffic flow is off of a very major thoroughfare, as you're well aware, and traffic has to go back out onto that thoroughfare, both vehicular as well as pedestrian. So that generally curtails a lot of issues as well, because our maintenance office as well as our leasing office will have eyes on site up at that front end, the entrance point. So again, there's a lot of design elements that we're putting into this building that help negate a lot of challenges that we currently have with the old design that you see today on site.
Dustin, it sounded like you had a question for me. I didn't catch what it was.
Me?
Dustin.
If you think tripling that is on the heavy side, I would say that 50% would be a safe bet, and it's getting a lot of attention in crime now, it sounds like.
I don't know if that's true.
At the last meeting, somebody threw out some numbers. I wish we had. I think it was actually that.
I did go and look at the Mill Creek property. And I was very pleased by what I saw. It was very clean, as opposed to the property that you now have. Those duplexes or fourplexes are run down. I think the people that are living there don't have much pride in where they're living. There's not a lot of incentive to care about where they're at. And I think the newer property that I saw in Mill Creek was very well taken care of. There wasn't trash. There were kids out playing. It seemed like a very safe environment to me. So I can't see that it's a downfall to increase that, but.
Well, I think too, where they're going to have somebody there on site. Will the people that are on site, the management, will they be living there as well?
No, but they'll be there full time, 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And what the property we have now is under public housing, which is, the oldest form of affordable housing. And it's a model that right now isn't working very well. And this is not just with us, it's nationally. And so we're working really hard to reposition those properties because we feel like affordable housing is an important asset, but we realize that the model isn't working very well. And so what we're transitioning this housing to is the same property in Mill Creek. And so it gives us a more stable financial model and better checks and balances, better finances.
Janice, I'm really happy to hear that there's actually an admission that affordable housing doesn't work as well as we probably thought originally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I feel more comfortable if there's going to be people on site than not, but it just feels huge going from that size to.
And, honestly, I felt that way when I started doing this kind of work. And what I learned is actually the sweet spot is kind of 75 to 100 units. Those are actually easier to manage than say 40 or 30 units. And really what it is it gives you the cash flow to be able to have additional staff on site and be able to have more attention paid to the property. So it's kind of a little counterintuitive. I thought the same thing until we started doing more development and realized that it is actually easier to bring on a property of 100 than it is to bring on a property of 40.
Interesting.
And
Well, it
I'd
makes-
also like to interject from an operational perspective, when you have people that have to walk through 1 or 2 entry doors into a single building, that creates a lot of additional eyes from your neighbors. That it sort of starts self-policing itself, that your neighbor, right now we have duplexes, and so people can come and go without a lot of people seeing them. But in this configuration, there are far more opportunities for your neighbors, to see you entering and exiting the building. So there's a little bit more visibility for all residents by the type of building that we're proposing, in contrast to what you see on site now with the duplex structures that are far separated, parking lots separating the buildings. The buildings are angled at different locations. The visibility will increase with the design that we're proposing.
Interesting. Well, I mean, it makes more sense. It makes you a little bit more accountable if you know people are watching. So,
And
like
so-
I said, my experience has not been positive, so it's hard for me to be all gung-ho about it, only because of the 2 incidents that I just said. Chad's Ford has been awful. Or, I mean, it's impacted a lot of us, and anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, so
We're just glad when people move out of it, so. Anyway.
I would really encourage commissioners to go look at the Mill Creek property. I mean, I know we're supposed to be making a decision this evening, but you would really see a huge improvement over what we have right now. Gigantic.
Is that the one on 39th South?
Yes.
39th South and about,
we have 2 properties up there. We have the Hub of Opportunity, which is 39th South and West Temple. And then we have one that's about 40th South and between Main and West Temple, called Bud Bailey Apartments. We're kind of up against a deadline, though, in terms of our moving forward. We have a tax credit application that is due the middle of next month. And so we really need the approval tonight.
I would add that the question about density was already answered with the rezone. This conditional use permit review is really, the question is, does the project satisfy the requirements of the RM25 zone? And with the conditions that we've included, it does. And that's typical of this kind of project at this stage in the process. So concerns about crime and density aren't really under consideration in this discussion, because that's part of the legislative process that the rezone went through already. So we don't want to get hung up on things like that when that's not really going to affect the outcome of the decision.
Again, we would welcome any and all of you to come see our Bud Bailey property, which is most like this property we're proposing. And we can do that at any time at your convenience. So we leave that, we extend that invitation yet again, and Janice would be more than happy. I would be more than happy to show you the property.
Or we're happy just to have you go as well. I mean, whether we're taking you through or you drive by, it's going to look pretty much the same.
yeah, and I'm familiar with the area, so where they're built, so. I think, with a lot of the crime in that, I think one of the things that we have to look at too, it seems like no matter where you go, there's going to be crime. I don't care what neighborhood, I don't care how affluent or how, you're going to find crime. And, when you have good neighbors that kind of watch in on everybody, then, I think that kind of, it shies away from that. But I think no matter where you go, you're going to find crime. And everybody needs to have somewhere to live. And I totally agree that what's there now, this is going to be a vast, just a huge improvement. I really do. And I think the main thing that where you've got somebody living, or I mean, working and overseeing, that has a lot to do with it too. So I think that, you know, I for one feel confident that it's going to be a good working situation.
Does the commission have any other questions or comments?
I can always comment, but I don't think it will necessarily add to the sentiment going on right now.
Well, we're happy to hear your comments.
Yeah, please do, because we need to know everybody's feelings.
Well, I just feel like it can't be understated. This is a change in building type. We're going from duplexes to a little bit more of a different type of living style. And that makes a big difference. You've already heard from the owners and the people running the facility that it's going to be managed differently because it's a different type of living situation. It's a different type of building. A choke point is a big deal for security. And I feel like this has a very defined place, especially when you're increasing the amount of people living there. It seems like attention has been paid to those sorts of issues. And that seems like a positive thing to be in Midvale, at least for me. I feel like it's the opportunity for a lot of people, a lot of different types of people to live in Midvale, especially along the 7200 South Corridor. And I, for one, am for that. So I think it's a lot of attention has been paid to a lot of the issues, and we can't solve every issue, but things have been paid attention to. So I can talk on and on, but those are my big concerns, and those are the big pluses that I see as well.
And, you know, that's what's important to me, is that we get everybody's outlook and feelings and, you know, the way they look at things, you know, because that's when things get taken care of and solved and brought together.
If there aren't any other questions or comments, I would entertain a motion.
I'll put the fixed one back up on the screen if you want to see it.
Yeah, please do. I'll make a motion. Okay. Regarding the application for the amended conditional use permit and preliminary site plan for an 89-unit multifamily residential project at 380 East Fort Union Boulevard, I move that we adopt the findings and conditions of approval presented in the staff report.
I second.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
We sure can. Commissioner Costello,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Snow,
Yes.
and Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Thank you for your presentation, and we'll move this on to City Council.
Now it's actually, at this point, it goes to staff. So
Yep.
Then it goes to staff.
okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, the second item on our agenda is approving the minutes of our last meeting. Does anyone have any corrections to those minutes or additions?
I couldn't find anything to change. Have you, Candy, or anyone else?
No, actually, they look great to me. The grammar police was fine.
I'm honored. I am honored.
Robin and Dustin and Candace, Bart.
Good. I don't spell all that well, so for me, it's great.
Okay, so if there are no corrections or additions, can I get a motion to approve those minutes, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. From, what's the date?
The 12th of August.
12th of August, 2020.
And a second, please?
A
I'll
second,
second it. Oh, go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin, second it.
Okay, those have been approved.
There needs to be a vote.
Alex, do you have anything you need to add this evening?
You need to do a vote on the minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Can I have a roll call vote on the minutes?
Yes. Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Snow,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Costello.
Yes?
Now the minutes have been approved. Alex, do you have anything that we need to discuss?
Nothing really this time. Zach wanted me to give you a warning because we've had a couple of short meetings and the meeting in September is looking like it's going to be a little long. It's at 5 items and it's not going to be extended at all at this point. But just be prepared for more items on that agenda.
Can we start at 6:30 instead of at 7?
If you would like. Well, I don't think that we'll have an issue with running out of time in that one.
Okay,
It's so far we have a rezone, a conditional use permit, a text amendment, the RSL large scale master plan, and then the Midvale Mills project on 80th South is coming back as an action item and not as a public hearing. So
okay.
I'm not anticipating we'll have a ton of public comments on any of those items, but the Midvale Mills project will probably be the time consuming one.
Are we back in the building for that?
Not yet. No.
Zoom. I just can't Zoom. I'm gonna have to resign if we keep Zooming.
I have not been told what the plan is for in-person meetings yet.
We
So,
have to be green, don't we? Don't we have to go to
That's-
solid
We
green?
have to green.
Yeah, that's the last thing I was told. Is
I can go to church. Why can't I go to a meeting that has less people?
you can ask that question to the council if you would like. Because the city council and the city administrator, the city manager have been the ones driving the meeting formats. So where possible, we've tried to minimize risk as much as possible too. So
I think we could social distance pretty well. We are grown up here and we could wear a mask.
yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily us as commissioners. It's the
It's the
public.
people coming, yeah.
Yeah.
My hell, they can go to Walmart. They can come to a meeting in distance, can't they? My goodness.
Well, I don't know. Can they? I mean, that's the big question.
Have you
Yeah.
seen the way some of them act?
That's the
The way
question.
some of them
All
act?
right. I guess I'm gonna talk to Quinn.
Hey,
Hey.
Alex, is there any iPads available?
Are you having issues? Do we need to talk to IT about something?
I've just never gotten one, so I have to split my screen. Leslie asked me and I said no, but now that we're doing Zoom,
Okay.
it would be nice to have 2 screens to.
No, we were supposed to get new ones in August.
I will check on both of those items.
I need one with a big screen.
Well, I'll see what I can do. That's
No,
all.
Okay.
continue right now as long as it's a second screen.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. That's why I don't make any motions because I can't. It helped, Alex, that you put that up.
Yeah,
That makes it,
We've been trying to do that more, but sometimes it does get forgotten in the mad rush that is preparing for a meeting.
You know, could I make a suggestion?
no,
Yes.
yes. Come on, Colleen.
Oh, well, I don't know how to do a split screen. So one of the easiest ways for me get around that program or that problem is I call up, and I know that this is probably a little more work, but I have them print out a paper copy for me so that I can see you like we're doing here. And I've got a paper copy right next to me. And trust me, when you're a dinosaur like I am, it makes my life a whole lot easier. Trust me.
I'm just trying to save a tree.
Well,
Yeah.
I know, and I mean,
Would.
I try and save trees too, but I have to be practical too. I have to do what's going to work and what's going to be best for me in order to make a good judgment or come up with some good answers or whatever. And I mean, I have found that for me, this works out good because as I've mentioned, I think most of you know, I mean, I don't use a computer that much. So I'm kind of at the dinosaur age, but
We love you even though you're a dinosaur, Colleen.
oh, bless you. No, but seriously though, that works well for me. And everybody has always, worked with me. And so I just, that's how I've gotten around the problem.
Okay, well, Alex, you'll go ahead and see what you can do on those things for us.
Yes.
Any other comments, commissioners?
Nope.
If there are none, I would like a motion to adjourn.
I'd make a motion to adjourn at 7:45.
I second that.
Third.
Really, it's just motion and any opposed is all you have to do.
It's
Oh.
true.
Oh, any opposed to our adjourning?
Oh, okay.
Okay, this
Yes.
meeting is now adjourned.
Okay. Candy, what did you call yourself? Candy?
What?
You called yourself the what? The police? The grammar police?
Yeah, the grammar police. That's
Okay.
me. I'm the grammar police.
Ah.
I need a uniform or a badge or something. So Alex, work on that for me. Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.